We are now joined by UFC middleweight Kyle Daukaus. Kyle, thank you for joining us. Up first, we have Nolan King. Nolan, your line has been unmuted.
Hey, Kyle. Congrats on getting to the UFC, man. I know it's a long time coming, and you were on Contender Series last year. You grinded for almost a whole year, and here you are. How does it feel, your first UFC fight week, to finally be doing the media rounds and getting ready for weigh-ins?
It feels good. It feels familiar. I've always envisioned myself here, so it feels like second nature. It feels like home.
And I know the last few weeks, it seemed like whenever there would be an injury or whatever, you'd be on Twitter saying, I'm ready, I'm staying ready. So as a guy that was a prospect not in the UFC, things were really uncertain. So can you talk about what the last couple of months have been like as a guy that, was on the verge of the UFC but didn't have that job and have to go through the pandemic and everything?
Yeah, it was tough. I thought I might have had to have gotten like a 9-to-5 job, but my family members and stuff told me to just keep pushing, and we'd eventually get the call. So I've been training really hard lately. The pandemic has been tough, but I've gotten training in either at my house or a friend's house, and I feel good as new and ready to go.
And I know your manager Hector posted a screenshot of the FaceTime. Was that unexpected? Did you kind of have a feeling that was coming, or was that just totally out of the blue for you?
No, I had a feeling it was coming, but that day it was kind of, it was like I wasn't even thinking about it that day. Every other day before that, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I was always checking Twitter, seeing if there was what was going on, seeing the news, texting my manager, nothing happened. But that day after we got done training, I wasn't really thinking about anything, and I saw I had a missed call from my manager. I called him back, and here we are.
And your opponent, Brendan Allen, is he a guy that you were familiar with? I know he was on the LFA as you were coming up. Give me your thoughts on him a little bit here.
Yeah, I know who Brendan is. I've seen him fight after me on the Contender Series, and I've always had a feeling that we would cross paths. It would just be a matter of time. But yeah, I've always had an eye on him, and I've always thought that I'm going to do very well against him.
My last question for you, in terms of, there's not a ton of middleweight prospects out there, young up-and-comers like yourself, undefeated. What do you think you bring to this division? What can people expect to see out of their first impression of you on Saturday?
The same as they always say. I'm a good pressure fighter. I take everybody down and submit them, and I don't think it's going to be any different on June 27th. And I hope to put all the middleweights on notice.
Appreciate the time, Kyle. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Our next question is with Jay Anderson from Cateside Press.
Hey, thanks very much. And just a couple quick ones from me. How did this, or when this opportunity came about? I mean, how ready were you for a fight? Were you already in fight shape, and did you feel it was on the horizon?
I actually had word of a fight later this summer, but I wasn't allowed to announce anything, so I was training for that fight. And it just so happened that this call had come early. So I really do feel like I'm more than ready. And throughout training camp, I was good. I had a mindset of a training camp, and it was no different during the tough time.
And, there's been a lot of distractions in the world. On top of the pandemic, you've got social unrest in the U.S. And I'm wondering if any of that has been a distraction, or you've just been, kind of totally laser-sighted throughout this.
No, not at all. None of that stuff bothers me. None of that stuff. I've really stayed off of Facebook and all the social media platforms. I've stayed away from all that political stuff because I just really think it's bad mentally and physically, because it brings a lot of aggression towards each other, and it's just not good in the world.
Is that just in relation to the current political state, or is staying off social media something you think is probably a good idea in general? Because we do see a lot of infighting, a lot of back and forth on there.
Yeah, I think the social media is kind of like a gateway for people to just talk smack and run their mouth and just be behind the keyboard. I've never really been a social media person, but during this call and stuff like that, I had to get back on social media and really push it. But I'm sticking to just Twitter and Instagram. I'm staying off of Facebook because I'm not a big fan of Facebook.
Fair enough. Well, I wish you the best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
That's all we have for you today, Kyle. Thank you.
Thank you.